Our headlines this Tuesday afternoon, August 22nd here in Seoul. Japan will start releasing treated wastewater from the destroyed Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant from Thursday. The UN's nuclear watchdog has finally given the green light, saying that the radiological impact would be negligible. This comes as fishing communities and neighboring countries have raised concerns over this decision. North Korea has reportedly told Japan that it would try to launch a spy satellite within this month. This is the North's second attempt after failing in May. The Korean government is stepping up its game to prevent the so-called random crimes we've been seeing in the country. Rape and murder in broad daylight and back-to-back stabbing sprees have led officials to look for ways to better protect the public. Some fundamental measures include installing more CCTVs. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of the Daily Report. Let's start with news from Japan. The Japanese government has decided to start releasing wastewater from the destroyed Fukushima nuclear power plant on Thursday. That means we'll see some 1.3 million tons of wastewater going into the Pacific Ocean. The local fishing industry is continuing to oppose the plan due to potential damage of the reputation of Japanese food. Peunji starts us off.
Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has said the country will go forward with the release on Thursday, August 24th, if they encounter no obstacles. A total of about 1.3 million tons of wastewater will be discharged into the Pacific Ocean over the next 3 decades. The decision was made after the government held a cabinet meeting on Tuesday morning to discuss the issue.
As for the specific release date, it is expected to be August 24th. Weather and sea conditions permitting.
The Japanese leader said he believes there has been support and understanding from a wide range of regions and countries, based on scientific evidence from the International Atomic Energy Agency. The IAEA, the United Nations nuclear watchdog, approved the discharge last month, saying that it finds Japan's plans to be consistent with international safety standards. Japan's latest decision comes after Kishida sat down with the leader of Japan's fisheries industry, Masanobu Sakamoto, who told the prime minister that even if it's scientifically safe, it doesn't get rid of the reputational damage, saying the industry is still against the release. Japanese media outlets have also reported that the reason Kishida is eyeing an early release within this month is to avoid the fishing season in Fukushima, which begins in September. It's been about 2 years since the Japanese government first announced its decision to discharge the water into the Pacific Ocean in April 2021 through Yoshihide Suga, who was the prime minister at the time. And it has been around 12 years since the Fukushima nuclear power plant was destroyed by a massive tsunami and earthquake on March 11, 2011. Peunji, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, North Korea is trying to make its second attempt to launch a spy satellite sometime between this Thursday and the end of the month. Pyongyang already tried to launch one in May, but it failed. Our North Korean affairs correspondent Lee Dae-yeon reports.
North Korea will likely launch a satellite between August 24th and 31st in the direction of the West Sea. The Japanese Coast Guard said that Pyongyang gave a notification early on Tuesday saying that it will designate 3 marine danger zones. These zones will include 2 areas in the West Sea and the eastern part of the Philippines Pacific coast. Kyodo News reported that the planned launch seems to be a retry of Pyongyang's military reconnaissance satellite launch in May. North Korea had notified Japan about that launch on May 29th and launched the satellite 2 days after that, but it failed as the rocket fell into the West Sea minutes after launch. North Korea's Aerospace Development Administration said that the newly built engine and fuel that had been used to launch the rocket were the reasons for the failure and pledged to try again soon. Experts say that May's launch was possibly affected by political issues, as there could have been pressure for North Korea to succeed in putting the satellite into orbit ahead of the so-called Victory Day in July. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has reportedly ordered officials to finish the technological preparation for a military spy satellite as one of the regime's top priorities for the second half of the year. South Korea's National Intelligence Service earlier last week said that the satellite will likely be launched in late August or early September to celebrate National Foundation Day next month. Meanwhile, following the notice, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida reportedly called on related ministries to cooperate in gathering information and said that Tokyo will closely work with Seoul and Washington on the matter. The Japanese Coast Guard has also issued an alert to warn seafarers. South Korea's Unification Ministry also condemned Pyongyang's plan, saying it is a clear violation of the UN Security Council resolutions. It also urged North Korea to immediately withdraw the plan. Lee Dae-hyun, Arirang News.
North Korea has accused South Korea, the U.S., and Japan of provoking a nuclear war through their Camp David trilateral summit. According to the regime's state-run media on Tuesday, the North said the prospect of an unprecedented thermonuclear war on the Korean peninsula is approaching reality. It added that the three countries adopted a series of documents to detail, plan, and formulate the provocation of a nuclear war on the peninsula through the meeting at Camp David. The North also slammed Seoul, Washington's annual Ulchi Freedom Shield exercise, saying the drills could also trigger a thermonuclear war in the region. In more than 3.5 years, North Korea's first international commercial flight has landed in Beijing. On Tuesday, the Air Korea flight departed Pyongyang Sunan International Airport and arrived at Beijing Capital International Airport at around 9:14 a.m. Although it's unknown whether any passengers were on board, it's been suggested that officials from North Korea's embassy in Beijing could be on the flight, as the embassy car was reportedly parked at the airport. A flight returning back to Pyongyang also appeared on the airport screen board, scheduled at 1:05 p.m. The exact number of passengers is unknown, but there was reportedly a long line of North Korean passengers to take the flight back to Pyongyang. Coming back to news on the domestic front, President Yoon has named Lee Kyun-yong as the country's new Supreme Court Chief Justice nominee on Tuesday to replace the outgoing incumbent Kim Myung-soo, who finishes his tenure next month. The top office says Lee is a seasoned justice who has served in research law for some 32 years, standing up for the rights of people with disabilities, laborers, and the privacy of individual citizens. The 62-year-old previously served as the chief judge of Seoul Nambu District Court and Daejeon High Court and is known for having conservative views within the judiciary and a personal relationship with President Yoon stretching back to their law school days. The Yoon administration is also likely to name a new industry minister candidate on Tuesday, with current Minister of Government Policy, Bang Mun-yu, believed to be the likely candidate. As South Korea grapples with a series of senseless crimes targeting unspecific groups of people, the ruling People Power Party and the government have stressed the need to impose stronger measures against them. Lawmakers and officials from the National Police Agency and different ministries, including the Justice Ministry and Health Ministry, came together on Tuesday morning. They just suggested expanding volunteer watch programs and installing more CCTV cameras. Officials also said we need to prioritize victims and their families' well-being before others. More details will be announced in the coming hours. South Korea's economic outlook this month dropped for the first time in 6 months. According to the Bank of Korea on Tuesday, the country's composite consumer sentiment index for August fell to 103.1, a 1.1-point fall from the month before. The central bank listed the economic slowdown in China and a delay in the recovery of the semiconductor industry among the reasons for such decline. The CCSI measures current and future prospects for living conditions, with the number above 100, meaning consumers are more optimistic about the economy. Young adults in South Korea are finding it increasingly difficult to pay off their debts. That's why the government is deciding to launch a loan workout program. Park Gun-woo has the details.
Young adults in South Korea are struggling to pay their debts. That's according to a report by the Korea Inclusive Finance Agency on Tuesday, which says 24.5% of people in their 20s or below who borrowed small sums for living expenses as part of a government policy for people with low credit are unable to pay the interest on their loans. This was the highest proportion among all age groups. The average amount of money borrowed was some $450 at an interest rate of 15.9%. That amounts to interest of about $6 per month. With increased employment insecurity and higher housing costs in South Korea, alarm bells are sounding for the country's youth. As a result, the government has stepped in to help those struggling to manage their finances with a so-called loan workout program. In terms of total debt, Data from the Credit Counseling and Recovery Service on Tuesday revealed that around 4,700 young adults availed of the program and had their loans renegotiated in the first half of this year. That means lower principal, no interest, and more time to repay the debt. The number of young adults requiring this kind of debt management has been rising steadily from around 2,200 in the first half of 2018. The average amount of principal reduction for young adults was approximately $6,600 this year from January through June, an increase of 67% compared to 2018. Although the percentage increase was the highest among all age groups, the actual amount was lowest, as those in their 20s are usually less economically active than other age groups. The workout program aims to lessen the burden on those in debt at a time of high interest rates and a higher cost of living. Park Gon-woo, Arirang News.
Moscow briefly closed its airports on Monday after spotting a drone hovering over the capital. Choi Soo-young has the latest.
All airports in the Russian capital were temporarily closed on Monday local time as a drone was spotted over Moscow. The drone is believed to have been shot down on the outskirts of the city. According to Reuters and Thurs News, a suspected unmanned aerial vehicle from Ukraine threw Moscow's airports into chaos, resulting in delays for all outgoing and incoming flights. Russia's defense ministry claimed that the drone was shot down, while Ukraine did not immediately comment on the incident. Meanwhile, during a visit to Denmark, Ukraine's President Zelensky stated on Monday local time at the Copenhagen parliament that he is confident of Ukraine's victory.
Dear friends, today we are confident that Russia will lose this war. The main thing is what we prove with our victory, with our cooperation, what you prove supporting Ukraine.
On August 20th, Denmark and the Netherlands jointly announced they will support Ukraine with F-16 fighter jets as soon as certain conditions such as pilot training are met. Denmark revealed plans to provide a total of 19 aircraft, including 6 starting at the end of this year, with a further 8 in 2024 and 5 in 2025. Meanwhile, Russia's ambassador to Denmark, Vladimir Babin, said that Denmark's decision would further escalate the conflict. Russia's foreign minister also warned that Moscow considers F-16 fighter jets a nuclear threat. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
In the UK, a neonatal nurse has been given multiple life sentences for the murder of 7 babies and the attempted murder of 6 others. Yoon files this report.
At Manchester Crown Court on Monday, a judge ordered neonatal nurse Lucy Letby to multiple whole life sentences for murdering 7 newborn babies and trying to kill another 6 between June 2015 and June 2016. The 33-year-old, while working as a nurse at the neonatal unit of Countess of Chester Hospital, murdered the babies by fatally injecting them with air, overfeeding them with milk, physically assaulting them, and poisoning them with insulin.
Lucy Letby, on each of the 7 offences of murder and the 7 offences of attempted murder, I sentence you to imprisonment for life.
The judge added that because of the seriousness of her offences, early release provisions do not apply, and the order of the court is a whole life order on each and every offence. She will be spending the rest of her life in prison. Such whole life orders are very rare in the UK and only given to those who commit the worst crimes. During the 10-month trial, believed to be the longest murder trial in the UK, the prosecution labelled Letby as a calculating and devious opportunist who gaslighted colleagues to cover her murderous assaults. Lucy Letby, now Britain's most prolific serial child killer in modern times, was not present in court, drawing condemnation that criminals must be forced to hear the impact of their actions on their victims and families. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said it was cowardly that people who commit such horrendous crimes do not face their victims, and it has prompted the government to look at changing the law to compel such killers to appear in court to face their victims' families. Yoon, Arirang News.
This year's KCON LA, the largest K-pop festival in the States, has been a complete success with a total of 140,000 people attending. The organizers CJENM said on Monday that an average 40,000 people gathered each day throughout the three-day concert held at the LA Convention Center and Crypto Arena in Los Angeles from August 18th to the 20th. We've seen 50,000 more people this year than in 2022, when the concert was held only for 2 days. 5.9 million people from around the world also enjoyed this year's event virtually, and the festival featured 21 groups, including IVE, ITZY, and Stray Kids. While smart technology makes lives easier for many, it's definitely challenging for some people to access such advancements or even break through entry barriers. That's why officials have decided to create learning centers to help these marginalized communities. Chung Eun-ju with more.
This 85-year-old woman visited a smartphone store because she didn't know how to watch videos of her favorite trot music singers. Visiting a smartphone store and learning about what can be confusing face-to-face is convenient. Anyone can come and learn how to use smartphones at the Smartphone Learning Center, which opened in one corner of the store in April. A South Korean mobile phone company came up with the idea as fewer people visit offline stores, as they are instead using online shops. The positive response from elderly people has led to plans for expansion to various locations, including Jongno in Seoul.
After COVID-19, there are many tasks done remotely through apps, so people are curious about these things. They're satisfied as we can resolve their questions immediately.
Students with physical disabilities try to use a kiosk. They practice how to use the kiosk step by step by following the instructor's explanation on how to order food from a restaurant or purchase public transportation tickets. Learning to use kiosks through direct interaction has a high educational effect.
I think the ability to decide what to eat and to purchase it will help develop students' independence and decision-making skills.
Recently, the South Korean mobile network operator partnered with the National Institute of Special Education to launch an information and communication education program. 40 schools were selected to teach students with physical disabilities, but nearly 200 schools applied.
Kiosks might not seem related to communication, but they are actively utilized in every aspect. Disabled students should also be able to participate in essential social infrastructure and enjoy a convenient digital life.
As smart technology continues to evolve, companies are also making efforts so more people can catch up on the latest in digital trends. Chung Eun-ju, Arirang News.
Electronic devices we use in our daily lives put out low-frequency electromagnetic waves that amass in our bodies. And now, a domestic research team has found a way to collect the electric energy that passes through our body as a means of treatment. Lee Kyung-eun tells us more.
Electronics that we use in our daily lives, like smartphones and laptops, all emit electromagnetic waves. The energy from these devices finally accumulate in our bodies and is transmitted upon contact. A team of South Korean researchers have developed technology that uses this concept to vitalize cells in the body. Attaching a localized electric field concentrates the energy to the desired area.
The electric energy is focused to where the electric field is desired, so external electric energy stimulates internal physiological activities.
The research team attached an electric field device to a person's legs and, while exposed to the electrical energy, moved the leg muscles. Results showed the muscle fatigue decreased by 6.4%. When the electrical energy stimulates the muscle cells, muscle strength is enhanced while muscle fatigue is reduced. Now, when this technology was integrated into material used for sportswear, similar effects of electrical energy stimulation was seen.
The energy from electronic devices is at low frequencies, so it passes through without significant effect on the human body. But collecting this electrical energy can cause electrical cell stimulation.
This means that without using a separate battery or wires, a simple electric field patch could allow people to take advantage of electrical energy stimulation in their daily lives. The research team has also noticed the effect of energy concentration vitalizing cells on the skin as well as on the scalp, which could mean future electric energy used for the treatment of scars and hair loss. Yoon, Arirang News.
Let's take a look at what's going on in the world now. Saudi Arabian border guards have been accused of firing on and killing hundreds of African migrants trying to cross the border from Yemen, in a Human Rights Watch report released on Monday. Along with the killings, the report also accused border guards of beating victims with rocks and bars, maiming others, and forcing male migrants to rape women over 15 months between March 2022 and June of this year. The report included dozens of interviews with victims, satellite images and photographs of incidents, and forensic analysis of wounds. Many of the migrants come from Ethiopia, hoping to escape poverty, drought, and political repression. The Saudi government has denied the accusations, calling them inaccurate and not based on reliable sources. A judge in the U.S. state of Georgia has set the bail for former President Donald Trump at $200,000. The conditions set on Monday mean that Trump can remain free pending his election interference case, as long as he does not threaten witnesses, including through social media posts. He also cannot have contact with any of his 18 co-defendants in the case without a lawyer present. Trump has been handed 13 charges, including racketeering and making false statements. He has denied any wrongdoing. The former president and his co-accused have until Friday midday to surrender themselves to a court in Atlanta, where they are expected to pay their respective bail bonds. And finally, the president of the Royal Spanish Football Federation has apologized for giving one of Spain's Women's World Cup winners an unwanted kiss on the lips. In a video statement on Monday, President Luis Rubiales said that he made a mistake and that there was no bad faith. At the Women's World Cup final in Sydney on Sunday, Rubiales kissed star player Jennifer Hermoso after she received her gold medal, following Spain's 1-0 victory over England. Hermoso indicated in a locker room interview that she did not like the interaction, but added in later interviews that there was nothing more to it and that it happened in the emotion of the moment. Matthew Ashley, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. It's a rainy day for those of us in the western parts of the country and Jeju Island. 30 to 60 millimeters an hour of heavy rain will pound down at times. And until tomorrow, northern parts of Gyeonggi-do could see more than 150 millimeters, and the capital could see up to 120 millimeters. Rain will expand to eastern regions tomorrow. It felt quite hot all through the day yesterday in Seoul with no passing rain. But today, along with showers, we will get heat relief. Meanwhile, eastern parts of the country will continue to sizzle with highs hovering around 33 degrees Celsius, but Gangneung will be hotter at 35 degrees under sunny skies. Highs in western regions are 2 to 4 degrees lower this afternoon. Seoul getting up to 30 degrees Celsius, but parts of Gyeongsang-do provinces could see some periodic showers late in the afternoon. Please keep an umbrella handy. This round of rain continues into Friday, but after the rain, we could get one step closer to autumn. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
Thank you for joining today's edition of the Daily Report. Do stay with us for a panel discussion on how foreign media outlets evaluated the Camp David Trilateral Summit. As for the Daily Report, we'll see you again at this time tomorrow.